Life. According to a veteran lover of nature, Mr. Odochukwebuka Gerald, he views life as a progressive stage. The joy of life often invokes the intrinsic beauty of our true existence. Life is not a straight road. It bends, it breaks, it blossoms again. We stumble, we soar. And sometimes, just breathing is proof that we are still becoming. It's not always loud. Some of the best parts of life comes in whispers, in morning lights, in long walks, in holding someone's hand through the silence. Life is not measured by years, but by moments. And in every moment, even the ordinary ones, is a sacred chance to begin again.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Let's see what's making front page news today in The Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and Guardian newspaper. On today's show, we also have again our in-house analyst, Mrs. Chiwendu Ifeoluwankwo. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you so much for
You're
tuning on
welcome.
board. Thank you, Mr.
Ready to fly,
Osai.
right? You're welcome.
Now on The Nation headlines, UK OK's Tinubu reforms, pledges stronger trade ties. Over to the Punch. FG malls pay rise for political office holders. Now over to the Vanguard news headlines. FG vows equal response as US tightens visa rules. Then moving over, lastly, the Guardian headlines. New licensing charges on settled ports operators, 3.5 trillion naira investments. Now, The Nation reports that the UK at OK's Tinubu performs, pledges stronger trade ties. The UK government has shown support for the reforms introduced by President Bola Tinubu. They are also promising stronger trade relations with Nigeria. What do you think about this concerning the UK support to Tinubu's policy?
Looking at the headline and the point the UK is trying to make here, we can easily understand or closely link it up to what the Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala said the other day, that the Tinubu administration, has been able to stabilize the economy. So when you pair this to, you understand that really there's a positive move towards, let's say, revitalizing the economy. And that's a very good one, because what it means is a matter of time for the country to start experiencing the, let's say, inflow of investors, which is a plus both for us and for the current administration. Mr. Sai, you have
Okay.
anything to put in?
I think you've really summed it up well. But when you see somebody that has afro, when you carry afro and you go to a barber and say you want to have a cut, what do you think the barber will say? He will definitely welcome you with open arms and say you should come here, right? Or when you have money and then you go to Julius Berger, you want to build a bridge, or you have oil wells and then you call Julius Berger, you want to do a bridge. Julius Berger will come running. The UK, as far as they are concerned, Nigeria is a market for them. And expectedly, they will be happy that inflation has been at a predictable pace. When Okonjo-Iweala came and said that now the economy has been stable, meaning that at this point in time you're able to predict the direction of the market, which is hallelujah to foreign investors. So one wouldn't be surprised. That's why I made that analogy, that when you see somebody carrying an afro and you go to a barber, you want to have a haircut, and he would welcome you to open arms. And in this case, UK, yes, more or less.
That means you're in agreement with what I said, that sooner or later we'll begin to experience the inflow of investors, because they will begin to see that the environment is now stable for them to come in.
Of course, yes. Every investor wants to enter an economy that they're able to predict. Nobody wants to invest in an unknown economy. Okay. Yes. So in this case, if they're able to predict the market at this point in time, yes, of course, dollar has been stable at 1,500 and something for a while. The fluctuation hasn't been that what we witnessed as last year, for instance. So should we say is a better climate than it was last year. So
okay,
it's expected.
Thank you. So that means the both countries can deepen their trade partnership if there is more investment.
Of course, there has to be, because they've been our trading partners.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry to say this on air, but as far as I'm concerned, this not just a farmyard for UK. Equally, is a very viable market at that for them. I don't think UK would be able to do with that Nigerian market. So they would want anything and everything for the economy to be stable. Yes, they want Nigeria stable. They want the environment stable.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now moving over to the Punch headlines, it says FG malls pay rise for political office holders. The federal government is considering increasing the salaries of political office holders. What's your take on this? Because you know, as we all know, that citizens are already facing economic hardship. Like we know that the things are hard, the economy is failing, the price of things are getting high, but yet the government wants to increase payments to the political holders.
And that's the problem, because like what they were saying, that this current sharing formula was what was initiated during Obasanjo regime, and the argument they are putting forth is going by the time the sharing formula was initiated and what is obtainable in the system now, going by the economic state, that it is no longer good, that they should continue with that old sharing formula, that there is a need, a very urgent need, for them to review, an upward review for that matter, of the political office holders, starting from the president down to Senate, House of Assembly, National Assembly, and all the NAS and the
political office
holders. Upward review of their salaries, monthly allowances. Are we getting it? Now, this is coming at a time where the economy they told us they just managed to stabilize the economy. Just like Mr. Ngozi Konjo-Iweala was telling them, yes, stabilizing the economy is the first step in the right direction, that the next and urgent step is growing the economy.
Yes.
Then after which we'll be able to go back to cushion the effects of the hardship the people has been thrown into in the course of trying to stabilize the economy. That means they understand the fact that people are really experiencing hardship at this time. The market isn't funny, yet they want an upward review of the salaries and allowances, still in the same economy. So I wouldn't know. I'm trying to see insensitivity from their own end. Yeah, they kept telling us that the government is sensitive to the people's plight. But how can you say, because when you look at the amount of money we are talking about here, if that can be pulled back into the economy, it will go a long way.
Yes.
Now you want your take home to be reviewed upward, and that this is the reason why anytime election or any office is declared vacant, the way it becomes survival of the fittest.
Yes.
Because they know that it is real business. I can even borrow money, and so long as I'm able to find myself in the
that
corridors of
position.
power, I am sure I'll be able to recoup all those money
Yes.
back. But if they will be able to handle the payment and allowances of these office holders such that it will reflect that of a true public office holder, making it unattractive, I'm telling you, nobody will
go for it.
Nobody will go for that, because no true businessman will want to go and invest where there won't be any return on investment.
Yes, that's true.
But for them, it's viable. So why not? So this is what they are pushing. Labour is kicking hardly against it. Say no, it shouldn't be. But will they pay attention? Because the move is strongly on as we speak.
And it's not the right time for
It's
this.
strongly on. Yeah, they said after that the first time it was during Goodluck's time, they presented it, but he was not able to push it down to Buhari's regime, yet Buhari was not able to do that. Now they want it, done, get it done now. So I wouldn't know why they are pushing that hard. Mr. Osai, please, will you come?
I'm trying to mind my language, you understand?
It should be.
I'm trying to mind my language because, should I say, seeing this headline makes me get agitated. And then I remember likening it to football. At a point in time, there was a season, for example, in English Premiership, where Arsenal Football Club knew the signing clause of a particular player, how much it would take to price the player away from Liverpool. They knew the exact amount. And what did they do? They priced plus £1. I think the release clause was around 40 million euros or pounds. And then Arsenal submitted a bid of 40 million, £1. Yes, and then Henry, the owner of Liverpool Football Club, now retorted, what are they smoking there in London? So I said this to say this. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, I'm sorry to say, what kind of coffee are they drinking in those offices?
You can ask that.
What kind of tea are you taking in that office? That in this economy, that the common man on the streets are suffering. Where we are saying that we are stabilizing the economy without a human face. That we are saying that this economy should be made in such a way that the common man on the street should be able to feel comfortable amidst the lack of human face of the effort to stabilize the economy.
Be able to
And now,
fresh air.
and now you are telling us that at this point in time, this is very insensitive to me.
Very insensitive.
When the populace are crying,
It doesn't make sense.
the economy things are so difficult. You go to market, you look at the price of food commodity. Then you are telling me
You want to
that
increase.
someone who offered his services freely, who didn't beg them to contest an election, who didn't beg them to be appointed into position, they offer their services willingly. They want to serve.
That means that
And it is expected that when you want to serve, part of it is because of you're for the
Yes.
people, not because of what you make from that office, because of the perks of that office. You want to serve humanity. You're already comfortable, or you're willing to face whatever hardship attached to that office, and then Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission is coming to tell me because the Nigerian president earns 1.5 million and then ministers are earning 1 million. That is not enough. Such another revenue. I was thinking that what I would say at this point in time, you want to review the salary of 1.5 million. Is this what they are living on? Now tell me, I don't mean the community clinic and afford quality health care. We offer all this to these leaders. And then in an economy that we are to be patient about the other perks of office. Point in time, it looks like pouring salt from this. While I agree that this has not been reviewed for a very long time, but timing is of the essence.
That's the thing.
Because you and I know that these leaders are not surviving on this salary.
Yes, if they've started paying them.
What I'm trying to posit is that when you've offered yourself for an elective position, that means you how many in the world. Yes. In Texas, and I'm very sensitive. We should be very sensitive to the plight of the people. Service corpus allowance to be increased to what it is now. To hem myself in and
then trying to find ways to cushion the effects of what the people are suffering, and not talking about upward review of their monthly salaries.
Yes, that's true. It was funny, but then one of the rule was that for a person in a social handle,
it means that you're free. That's for you won't feel it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't.
Okay, what if I've not had for 5 years? Like I have only had 2 years.
And you submit first in the equal measure. I think it's not out of place. Yes, except they have ceased coming in here. But as long as they want to come in, the same measure with which
they are giving,
it won't fall short of this.
Okay.
Which me, I'm in support of that.
Okay. First of all, the question is, how did they come about this?
I'm talking about...
This is the measure, why they to stable security
in
of
the
States. Yes. As far as the United States are concerned, great.
Yeah.
And as far as they are concerned, is America first. So, whatever measure they've seen necessary to make sure that the right people, they would uphold that.
Okay, you are supporting the policy?
I'm coming. Okay. If you're in support of Boko Haram, if you're a terrorist apologist, that's the essence of it. For total venting of whoever is coming to their country. And I, for one, I don't see anything wrong in that.
Okay.
Yeah, cupboard. You should be willing to submit yourself to that process. You have a 2-year presence in social media, submit the 2-year presence. If you don't have a presence in social media, that's good. Let them check the extent. The Americans will go to secure the life and property of their citizens.
Okay.
So it's America first. And I would say, in Igbo language, they say, Onye jigu ka ewu na-eso. There is something they have that we want. That's why we're going there. And the federal government or the minister are saying that you respond in equal measure. What equal measure?
No,
what equal measure?
Well, they're trying to say that it's embarrassing, asking somebody down to your personality.
If it's embarrassing, build your economy, provide security for your people, make the education system viable. Then your people will not troop out of the country. Have a stable environment, provide health care, make the country work for everybody. Nobody will want to leave. I remember reading as a student of history that in the hostel I lived as an undergraduate, that the students then would go to the refectory and they are entitled to full chicken at little or no cost. They will wake up in the morning and caretakers will come and sweep their rooms for them. The same hostel I ran away from as an undergraduate because of congestion.
Horrible, horrible situation.
Our fathers have this story to tell us how before you graduated from the university, institutions, employers, organizations are already asking you to come and join them. Then what am I going to tell my son? And if I have the means and you say my son shouldn't go to a better climb? No. The only core measure we would respond with is to build our country. Let us do the right thing. Yes, when we do the right thing, we'll make our economy viable, we'll stabilize the country, provide security, provide energy. Then, when somebody asks you to provide your social landmark, you would ask question.
Why?
Yes, because you would have the pride of a true Nigerian because you live in an environment that is very viable and attractive to foreigners. Not the one you want to run away. Let me tell you this. In history, when you study the transatlantic slave trade, we would always say that, yes, our people were forced into slavery. Bring those merchant ships back. We would submit ourselves back to slavery. Now,
Because everybody
wants to live. The Japa syndrome. So, my advice, sorry I sound this way, but we need to respond in equal measure of providing security, not granting amnesty to known terrorists, not having a very unstable climate, provide succor, provide grants to students, doctors, and let us have a country that will be proud to say this is our nation. Nobody will want to leave, and nobody will subject you to such checks. Yes, there are countries that the same Americans would not ask them to go and apply for visa. They grant them visa on arrival. Those nations, do they have two heads? It's because they've built something that is respectable. We can build ours. Yes. When at a point China has to close their nation in order to build from within, and when they were done, we've seen how thriving the country is. When Chinese leave their country, there must be something of specific importance they are going there to do as expatriates. They won't travel cap in hand like we do, and they will be respected for it. So let's build our nation.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And please do not forget that you can also grab your physical copies at any of your favorite vendor or catch the e-papers online. And after the break, it's time to unwind with a little celebration. Please stay tuned.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Thank you for staying with us to this moment. And today we have a celebration. Today, August 19, 2025, it is World Humanitarian Day. It is a day dedicated to honoring humanitarian workers who risk their lives to provide aid to victims of armed conflicts, natural disasters, and other crises. The day commemorates the 2003 bombing of the United Nations headquarters in Baghdad, which killed 22 people, including Sergio Vieira de Mello, the the United Nations Special Representative in Iraq. Iraq. Sorry. So there are key aspects of World Humanitarian Day, and the theme for 2025 is Humanity Beyond Borders, uniting for a safer world, emphasizing global unity in addressing humanitarian crisis. And the purposes is to raise awareness about humanitarian work, support volunteers and workers, and highlights the problem faced by disaster victims. Now, the celebration this day is marked with thematic events, conference, informational campaigns, recognition and awards for humanitarian workers, and fundraising efforts. Now, the key principles of Humanitarian Day is having humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence are the core principles guiding humanitarian aid. There are also challenges to this humanitarian day, which is ongoing conflict in regions like Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan, and other war-affected areas. They require sustained humanitarian support from us. Now, there is also rising floods, heat waves, wildfires, and droughts displace millions, exacerbating humanitarian needs. And over 170 million people are displaced globally, necessitating comprehensive humanitarian responses. Now, there are ways to honor humanitarian workers, and the United Nations and other agencies honor aid workers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. In Nigeria, the day was marked with events to recognize the sacrifice of humanitarian workers, particularly women who face significant challenges in conflict zones. Please, let's try to protect our humanitarian workers and civilians caught in conflict. We should also uphold international humanitarian laws without exception, and also provide sustainable funding for inclusive humanitarian assistance. And it's a wrap on today's edition of Sunrise. Please let us know what you're celebrating. You can tag us at Aneke TV across Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube, or call our phone number 070-043-7110. And it's always a pleasure to have you on our show here on Sunrise at Aneke TV. Thank you for waking up with us. It's always a pleasure. I'm Deborah Wakoba.
And Osai, stay bold, be unique, and remember, keep watching. Catch you same time tomorrow. Salute.
maka ka onye si eme ka ekwe si akpụ ya ka onye si eme ka ọja si akpụ ya. Ihe a bụ Aneke TV.
Echidodo, Nkanu East Local Government Area of Enugu State, was agog as the team are speaking during the event. The program officer of the foundation, Obinna Obu, of Education,
cut across distribution of educational materials to pupils of so this another local government.
Sarah Obase, Chimereme gesture, pledging to take their studies seriously.
I am happy, and we are happy as we give us the exercise in the book for us.
I want to say to you people, thank you for coming and sharing book for us.
Speaking, the two headmistresses of the community primary school 1 and 2, Ozam and
I have to say we are this gift from you people. We appreciate you and your foundation, and we pray that God will continue to guide you.
Even my purpose are excited. I appreciate you people for coming, at least to show us that this type of thing is in existence. Because if people are not here, we will not.
The parents of the book.
The school environment was filled with happiness as the book distribution continued.
We welcome you on this edition focus on Aneke TV. It is the youth empowerment program that empowers the youth in several ways. It shares the lives of the youth. It's also, to achieve this, we make opinions. We will give commendations, motivations, criticisms, and of course, we respect the in-depth knowledge of some adults who have problems in the lives of some young people and the society at large. Thank you so much for being there. Today, permit me to introduce some guests we have on the studio who are going to discuss this topic and then educate you on that. Thank you so much. By my left, I have Mr. Uche Abese, who is a student mentor. It's good to know you are there. You have heard our topic. Today, we are looking at the get quick rich syndrome that's really occurring amongst the young people. Gentlemen, it is believable to say that struggle here and there, do a lot of things to make money.
Yes.
Then permit me to begin this way.
This afternoon, looking at this syndrome, get rich quick, and who a rich person is. We live in a world that have diverse interpretations to so many things based on individuals' perspective, which also stem from their background, their status, and the exposure in life. So a lot of persons may have different definitions of richness or being rich or somebody being rich. But in a simple term, could say that a rich person is one who has wisdom, knowledge, understanding, which brings the resources of wealth, as in means, materials, and money. Now, in this definition, you can see I didn't talk about money first. I talk about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which will now bring means, materials, and money. So a rich person is somebody who has wisdom, who has knowledge, who has understanding, who can apply these three to produce the rest. Thank you so much.
All right, Wilfred, how much do you believe in what Uche has said?
Yes, if you observe closely, when he was speaking, I was just nodding my head, because just yesterday we had a conversation around this. You know, I can't agree less with what he said, because when you look at it in actual sense, or maybe look at it factually, you know, somebody may not necessarily possess money, the one you call money, the paper, you know, the currency, to be able for you to say the person is actually rich or not. Because when you look at money, it is something that you are giving in exchange for a value that you've offered, right? And so what it means is, whenever someone has something to offer in exchange for, you know, value to offer, you are giving something in exchange for that. When you go to sit down under in your salon to get your hair made, you know, by your barber or something, when he, you know, carefully crafts your hair, you know, you pay him something because he's done something for you. You know, when you go to school, you sit down to learn under a teacher, at the end of the term or the session or whatever, you pay a school fees because they've offered some kind of value to you and you're paying in exchange of that. So I think the problem really is that, just like Mr. Oche said, there's been a lot of misinformation and the perspective is wrong towards what we think is actually riches. Dangote, for instance, may be considered the richest man in Nigeria or in Africa, as the case may be. But when you go to his account balances in some of the bank he runs, you may not find as much money as you may want to find being the richest person in Africa. There are people who are considered rich. When you go to their account balances, you won't find so much. But in terms of assets, in terms of what they can offer, we consider them rich. There are some people who work in organizations, maybe as chief executive officers. Their work is to sit down, craft policies, oversee the implementation of these policies, and you pay them in millions, right? But there are people who do the hard work, as you may want to define it, sit under the rain, under the sun, and still yet they earn peanuts. So it's not just about the currency, it's about the value the person has to offer, right? So that's what, for me, refers to how rich a person is. It's what you have to offer. And that's what many young people have failed to understand. And that's why this syndrome, like you said, the get rich quick syndrome, has been very prevalent in our society.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we are nipping it in the bud. But you mentioned something, Wilfred.
Yes.
How much do you believe in what he said, that there's a misinformation somewhere? Who misinformed who? And how did all of these things start?
That's why I started by saying that we live in a world where we have diverse interpretations and people have diverse exposure. Now, the young people also are exposed to so many things in the current time. They have their ideas from so many places, from their parents, from the family, from the community, from social media.
Yes.
And which is also, the social media has become a home of so much disruptive information. So they can get their information so many places, but interpretation of that information matters a lot.
Yes.
If someone is not trained, if someone is not transformed, he will be misinformed using an information.
Yes.
So they are exposed to, young people are exposed to many ways of accessing information. So you will not blame them if they are misinformed. However, there are some indices that we can lay hold on to say this person is misinformed because he is exposed to so many places,
yes.
And maybe the person is still immature in interpretation and execution of ideas.
If that is the case, where do you think, Wilfred, that will get the appropriate information?
Well, I was just about to react quickly to some of the things he said. Sometimes you see musicians, some of them are role models for young people. They look up to them. You see them in musical videos, not just in musical videos, in their social media handles. They flaunt all manner of wealth. They flaunt the cars, the kind of cars that they drive, flaunt themselves, flying private jets and all that. Now, what my problem is that most times they do not go into detail to show people the sleepless night they have in studios to record, have sections in studios to come out with hit songs. Some of them, try 4 or 5 years without even having a hit. And suddenly you have a hit. What people see is the green side. They see the good, everything is El Dorado. But there was a time when you struggled and you don't show people that side. And that's how it applies to most things that young people feel. And so when people see this kind of a thing, they feel they feel there is no work. Mahatma Gandhi said in 1925 that one of the greatest sins of the world is wealth without enterprise. When you have money, you have wealth, you have all these things, but it cannot be traced to a particular enterprise. And that's why some of these people who call themselves, native doctors, they have been promoting this ideology that you don't need to work hard. They just do this, do the okite, do the this, and a lot of people are buying into it. So nobody wants to work hard again because we've taken away the elements of work, hard work, diligence, commitment, persistence in trying to get get means to survive. So people think that when you see somebody going to, how many people go to learn trades, sir, these days? Nobody. How many people go for boy? There are few of them. Nobody wants to. Before, you see people go for 9 years, serving their boss, especially without any record of even disobeying for one day, because there's something they're looking forward to. But nobody wants to do that these days. I was looking for somebody to do a work for me in my village, a small work, and we went around the village, we couldn't find, because nobody wants to learn the skills, the local skills. Nobody's interested. Everybody wants to get money, and that's why you see them selling people's land in the village. That's why you see them going into kidnapping. That's why you see them going into money rituals, because they do not believe that there is something to be done to be able to get wealth.
Okay, thank you so much. And before you preempt my next question, thank you so much for so far. And Abia, if you are joining us now, it is Youth Focus on Aneke TV. Thank you so much for being there. Just type Aneke TV and you'll not regret you did, because we have a lot of interesting programs for you there. Thank you so much. Let's continue on this same topic, get rich quick syndrome. If the definitions you have given to me with respect to a rich person, if that's true strictly, who is a poor man then? Because there is this saying that that poor people struggle to get rich, whereas rich people struggle to get richer. Now, who is a poor man, and what makes a poor man poor?
Okay, well, okay.
Okay. Looking at the issue of poverty, first of all, I would say that one is a thing of the mind. You know, poverty starts from the mind. The way you look at yourself, the way you think, your perspective about life will also affect the way you act and what you do. So if a young person may be full of ideas, but because he sees himself as incapable, maybe compared to some other young ones who are from a well-to-do background, so that idea may die. At the end of the day, nothing comes out of him. So physically, like he was saying, I wanted to point that, you know, the young people look at fame. They don't look at the work. They look at the glamour. They don't look at the labor. So somebody who is poor could be said that the person has not developed himself, has not brought out potentials, talents, innate abilities in him. So the person is poor, not necessarily because he lacks money, but because he is not developed. He is not giving to society value. He is not impacting, because life is about impact and influence. So the person who is not impacting society, yet full of abilities, is a poor man.
Thank you so much. I think you have made a lot of senses there. Now, why do rich struggle to get richer?
You know, in economics, they said human needs are insatiable. And people, when you get this, there is this tendency that you want to get this. When you get to A, you want to get to B. That's just the nature of life, and that's how divine design is, you know. But the ability to also match your desires with some level of contentment, you know, some level of, discipline not to go out of the line, right? Everybody needs money, for instance. Everybody needs to meet, you need money to meet your needs, you need money to meet your obligations and all that, your responsibilities, very important. But your ability to also put your character in check, you know, not to compromise at any point in your quest of getting more money. And so, like you said, the rich want to get richer. It's ordinary. It's normal. People, when they get one, they want to get one. They want to get another. But, however, there are also persons who can be considered rich. They have aspirations. They want to grow bigger than they are. But they ensure that they do it within the confines of the, morality. They don't want to compromise. There are people that, for instance, I heard of a very popular, figure in Nigeria who said somebody offered him a contract, told him to bring a quotation for a contract. And when he brought his quotation, they told him to inflate to the tune of about 3 billion. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to have to make. That it can solve a lot of problems. Even if it doesn't solve your personal problems, there are a lot of people in your village that can solve problems for. You know, it's a lot. But the person had the audacity to say no to that. He had the courage to say no to that. I mean, if it's to inflate, no. If it's to give you the actual figure which we're going to do this work for, yes. But if not, and he said interestingly that they said no. If you're not able to do it this way, and so that's the problem. It's not as if people don't have desires to get bigger. Everybody has desires to get bigger. But however, your ability to put your character in check, to ensure that who you have in societies today, you go to school, for instance, every student, some of their desires to have a car, and it is wrong. Your assignment is...
Before you continue, let us come back to Uche, that is a student.
There are some in secondary school, I think within the week, so many issues in the academics, but they want to explode. They want to ride cars. What's the essence? So it's an influence is also part of the peer pressure because they are pressured by what they call,
Exactly.
boy. Nobody wants to do apprenticeship. Everybody wants to get a BAM.
Thank you so much. Let us take it this way. We have also established a fact that it is true that a lot of students at that age want to get rich quick.
Yes.
And it is wrong. Now, if there's people like you mentioned that are classified in the eyes of the society as poor people.
Yes.
And that. Wilfred, talk to us.
Okay.
Very, very, very many of them. You put in effort in doing it. You put in effort in doing it. You make the first one, it's not perfect. You make the second one, you make the third one. You do it over time. You may not do it consistently. When you do it, with the mind that this thing can actually help you escape poverty, you're doing it required in school. That is why this...
Develop them.
Yes.
You see, we talk about apprenticeship. Nobody wants to go for apprenticeship for 3 years. For them, it looks tedious. One, find out who you are, what there's inside, bring it out, develop it. Hone your skill.
Exactly.
Then partner with other people. Maybe if there is time, Africa needs to learn partnership. Africa don't know partnership. I have an idea. You have some cash. We can partner to produce something. If we don't do, that's why some young people are just messing up because they have a lot of ideas, no capital. They approach a man that...
Something very important. You talked about one being able to discover his or herself. And then after the discovery, what next? Who may be having these potentials we're talking about? In them, lying in them. They don't know how to discover it. They don't know how to develop it. It is after discovery we'll talk about development.
Yes.
The one that doesn't know how to discover, to talk of developing,
lies 1 out of 1,000 of the potentials that we have. A writer said something. Until you stretch yourself, you may not know how far you can get. So a lot of people are embodiments of potentials, talents, ideas, but they remain redundant. Because just like Mr. Oche said, they fail to understand that this is what they have. I come to think of it. Some people thought about stand-up comedy. They stand up, they make people laugh, and they get paid. I mean, that is a very big business in this country, for instance. The likes of AY, Basket Mouth, and some of them have made a lot of money just by making people laugh. I can imagine that some years back, when you're somebody who is considered funny, Igbos will call you Iberibe. But out of the Iberibe, they've been able to make fortunes for themselves. So I think there are a lot of people like that. But everybody, I believe also that everybody has some unique potentials. You can imagine what it is for somebody who is, you have gifting of as casual as making people laugh, and you're able to turn it into an enterprise. So there are people who have some gift that may be considered, nothing is actually useless. I don't believe that anything that God gives to somebody is useless. We are born with different abilities, and I believe it's God-given. So
yes, I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So,
we are born with different abilities,
Yes.
different potentials. I am talking about, be specific with this.
One of the things that will help somebody who has abilities but doesn't know what to do, when there is need for mentorship. You need to have mentors. Maybe a teen who is 16 or a young boy who is 18 doesn't know all things, doesn't know as much as his father, doesn't know as much as his uncles and aunties. You should have mentors. We live in a generation where everybody wants to become an oga. Young people want to become the oga of their own. You see them, they can't even respect their elder. They want to drive, they want to cruise. Even they expect elders to greet them. So there is need for you to have mentors who can also look into your life and say, you have this. Just like parents who can notice, abilities in their children and also guide them to grow that way. Time has gone when you see your child breaking bottle, you start beating. No, if he's breaking the bottle and also putting it together, know that this child has something that he can fix things. So young people need to have mentors too. They need to also go to programs. There are programs that can help you. There are programs that can help you, give you a reorientation of values, reorientation of abilities that can expose you to knowing how to develop what you have. So mentorship and also attending programs can also help.
Mr. Basis, and also to try to answer your question, I read a book, and I think it's important I share some of the insights I got from that book, where somebody tried to outline a formula that would help people discover what the abilities they have. and he called it the SHAPE formula. You know, SHAPE. SHAPE is spelled S-H-A-P-E, right? The first word there, S, means spiritual gifting. What I mean is there are things that people were born with. You know you didn't learn this one from anywhere, but you find yourself, there are people that, little children, you find spoilt radios at home. They tight wire, and the radio comes up. They didn't learn anywhere. They didn't see anybody doing it. You can categorize that as something that they were born with. There are people that when they cook, they just try out.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Good afternoon and welcome to the news at 3 on Aneke TV. First, the headlines. US revokes over 6,000 student visas. Son of Norway's crown princess charged with 4 counts of rape. Hamas agrees to new ceasefire proposal. Niger police arrest 3 sales girls over 29 million naira theft. INEC portal records over 26,000 visits on first day. Naira appreciates to 1,550 naira per dollar in parallel market. I am Amaka Nechi. Now, the news in details. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is prepared to meet Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin at a joint summit to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky made the pledge during talks with his U.S. counterpart at the White House, hastily convened after President Trump's encounter with Putin last Friday. The cordial meeting between Mr. Zelensky and Mr. Trump was a world away from the unseemingly shouted match which took place in February and preceded talks between the two men and European leaders from the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, and the EU and NATO, who had all flown into Washington, D.C. in a show of solidarity for Ukraine. Also, the U.S. President Donald Trump has told President Volodymyr Zelensky that the United States would help guarantee Ukraine's security in any deal to end Russia's war there, though the extent of any assistance was not immediately clear. Mr. Trump made the pledge during an extraordinary summit at the White House where he hosted Zelensky and a group of European allies following his meeting on Friday in Alaska with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Mr. Zelensky hailed the promise as a major step forward, adding that the guarantees would be formalized on paper within the next week to 10 days. In Europe, the son of the Norwegian crown princess, Marius Borg Høiby, has been charged with 32 offenses, including 4 counts of rape. Oibi, whose mother is a crown princess, Mette Marit, and whose stepfather is a crown prince, Haakon, Norway's future king, is expected to stand trial early next year and could face up to 10 years in prison if found guilty of the most serious charges. The charges include the rape of 4 different women, domestic abuse of a former partner, and illegally filming a number of women, including their genitals, without their knowledge or consent. He is also charged with the harassment of police and traffic violations. However, Oibe's lawyer, Pata Sekulik, who is representing him together with Ellen Holaja and Danes, said their clients denied all charges of sexual abuse, as well as the majority of the charges regarding violence. In June, Oibe was charged with 23 offenses, including 3 counts of rape, by the police prosecutor before the case was sent to the state's prosecutor. Oibe is alleged to have raped 4 women between 2018 and November 2024. All the alleged assaults allegedly took place after consensual intercourse while the women were sleeping. Oibe is accused of filming all the 3 women during the alleged rapes. Then we'll move over to the U.S. The United States State Department says it has revoked more than 6,000 student visas in 2025 due to violations, including overstays, criminal behavior, and support for terrorism, Fox News Digital reported. The roughly 6,000 visas that were pulled were primarily due to visa overstays or encounters with the law, including assault, DUIs, burglary, and support for terrorism, the State Department told Fox News Digital. The move comes as the Trump administration continues its crackdown on immigration and international students. While the State Department did not specify what they meant by support for terrorism, the Trump administration has targeted some students who have protested in support of Palestine, arguing they had expressed anti-Semitic behavior. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced in May that the department was reviewing the visa status of students who had taken part in such protests. Altogether, the State Department told Fox News Digital that approximately 40,000 visas have been pulled in 2025 in comparison to the 16,000 that were revoked during the same time frame under the Biden administration. Now we head over to the Middle East. Hamas says it has agreed to a new Gaza ceasefire proposal as mediators from Qatar and Egypt push to renew talks ahead of major Israeli assaults on Gaza City. In a statement, Hamas said it had accepted the new proposal presented by Qatar and Egypt. A senior member of Hamas's political bureau, Basim Naim, said on social media that the movement has accepted the new proposal from the mediators. Now we head over to Africa. The main rebel group in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the M23, has walked away from peace talks with the government. The group said it will not return unless the authorities adhere to a previous ceasefire deal. Fighting between the two sides escalated in January when the M23 captured large parts of the mineral-rich east, including the regional capital, Goma. In Qatar last month, the rebels and the government signed a ceasefire agreement intended as a step towards a permanent peace deal. But as negotiations were set to resume, the M23 said its representatives were not present in Qatar. Now we'll bring you stories from Nigeria. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has confirmed the rescue of 15 more persons in the ongoing operation following Sunday's tragic boat crash. The head of a press unit, Mr. Manzo Ezekiel, in a statement said the latest rescue brought the total number of survivors to 25, while 25 others remained missing. The statement noted that the Director General of NEMA, I'll take that paragraph again. The statement noted that the Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubaida Umar, also assured the public that rescue operations would be sustained and further intensified until all missing persons were rescued. Recall that the ill-fated canoe carrying over 50 passengers en route to Goronyo Market capsized in Kojiyo village last Sunday. Initial operations had led to the rescue of 10 passengers, while the intensified efforts yielded an additional 15 rescues. To some political matters, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the Anambra South senatorial by-election, Mr. Azuka Okosa, has rejected the results of the senatorial elections held in the 7 local government areas, alleging rigging and other electoral malpractices. Mr. Okosa accused ABGA of using security operatives and some officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to allegedly sabotage the electoral process and describe the exercise as a severe blow to the country's democratic integrity. In the result announced by the INEC returning officer, Professor Frank Ojiako, Abgaz Emmanuel Nwachukwu Emajuina with 90,408 votes to defeat the APC candidate Okosa, who scored 19,847 votes, and Donald Amambo of the African Democratic Congress, who got 2,889 votes. Reacting to the conduct and outcome of the elections in a press conference in Orifite, a Pusigo local government area of the state, Okosa described the exercise as a charade, a rape on the people's mandate, and nothing but an embarrassment to democracy. In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it is recorded over 26,000 visits to its continued voter registration portal just hours after the nationwide exercise commenced on Monday. According to the Commission, via its official X handle, hits on the continuous voter registration portal cvr.inecnigeria.org climbed to 26,255 as at 12:35 p.m. on Monday. Announcing the launch, INEC said in-person registration would take place at all its 37 offices and 774 local government area offices nationwide to ensure easy access for prospective voters. While the online pre-registration is now live, the physical registration phase is set to begin on 25th of this month across the country. The Commission clarified that the CVR is open to Nigerians who have turned 18 and have never registered, as well as those seeking to update their voter details, transfer their voting location, or replace lost or damaged PVCs. Moving on, the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Olakule Nafiu, has commended Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State for approving the payment of 20,000 naira allowance for the corps members posted to the state for their national service. The NYSCDG, who made the commendation when he led other top officials of the scheme on a courtesy visit to the governor in his office, said the gesture was to augment the federal government's allowance of 77,000 naira paid to the corps members. While describing Enugu as welcoming, the NYSCDG commended the governor for his support to the scheme in various ways, especially the complete rebuilding of the Ogo orientation camp built in 1973 and set to be the first in Nigeria to enviable standard. He further charged the corps members across the country to respect the norms and values of their host states to foster cohesion and cultural integration. Responding, Governor Peter Mbah, while assuring the NYSCDG of his administration's commitment to completing the rebuilding of the Ogo orientation camp within the shortest time, said it is expected to be commissioned by the end of the year and commend the DG for the great job he is doing. The governor, who described the NYC as a veritable platform that brings young people across cultures, faith and regions together to serve their fatherland, said aside the rebuilding of the orientation camp, the state government has other interventions for the scheme and promised continued support to the welfare and safety of the corps members. Brigadier General Nafiu was in Enugu on a walking visit to the state to inspect the NYSC orientation camp in Ogo to get first-hand appraisal on how the state secretariat is running the orientation activities, ascertain the safety and welfare of the staff, and have a robust advocacy engagement with the state government to further deepen the symbolic relationship between the government and the scheme. Also, 3 sales girls have landed in the police net over the theft of 29 million naira worth of goods in an electronics phone shop in Obasanjo Complex, Mina, Niger State. The suspects Sarah Ogbonna, Ruth Emmanuel, and Mercy Ogbonna were allegedly involved in the theft of the goods, including phones, and giving them to Nuruddin Musa, who sold them at giveaway prices. The main suspect, Sarah Ogbonna, was alleged to have stolen the phones worth 29 million naira and used part of the money to solve her family challenges as well as make a monetary contribution scheme. She was also alleged to have rented an apartment for her boyfriend. The spokesman for the Niger State Police Command, Wasiu Abiodun, confirmed the incident in a statement in which he said all the suspects were under investigation. Now in Ondo State, the Ondo State Magistrate Court sitting in Akure, the state capital, has remanded two men, Tope Ademosho and Igbekele Akinshioye, in prison custody for allegedly raping a 17-year-old girl. The duo, who were commercial motorcyclists, were arrested by the men of the State Security Network Agency, also known as Amotekun, for allegedly committing the offense at his residence located at the continental area of Akure 2 weeks ago. They were arraigned before the court on 2 counts of conspiracy and rape. And moving away from that, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Richard Montgomery, yesterday lauded economic and trade reforms being implemented by the Tinubu administration. Mr. Montgomery said that the reforms, though painful, were necessary to get the economy back on track. He described them as bold, brave, and positive steps that have been creating new opportunities. Mr. Montgomery spoke yesterday when he, in the company of British Deputy High Commissioner Gil Lever, visited First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. The High Commissioner spoke days after a similar commendation came from the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, who visited the President at work, lauded the sweeping economic reforms, describing them as pivotal in restoring economic stability and laying the groundwork for sustainable growth. Also, a viral video has shown the moment armed men believed to be operatives of Operation Udogachi, also known as the Agone Chamber Vigilante Group, stormed a corps member's lodge in Anambra State and assaulted a female corps member identified as Jennifer Edema Eloho and some of her colleagues. The video, which was shared by the Haven 360 Foundation on Facebook on Monday, showed the victim, Elo, being beaten and stripped naked by men wielding guns. The foundation said the victims were brutalized and subjected to humiliating and sexually degrading threats. It noted that the vigilante accused the corps members of being Yahoo people and still descended on them, despite producing their NYSC identity cards. In chieftaincy, the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Abimbola Owade, has criticized the decision of the Oni of Ife, Oba Enitan Ogunwusi, to confer the title of Okanlomo of Yoruba land on a businessman, Dotun Sanusi. The Oni at the weekend bestowed the title on Sanusi during the unveiling of Together, an indigenous social media and business networking platform held in Ilaji, Ibadan. Conferring the title, Ogunwusi describes Sanusi's commitment to the cultural and economic growth of the Yoruba race as unparalleled. But the Alaafin, in a statement issued on Monday through his media aide, Bode Durojaye, said the Oni overstepped his bounds, insisting that no traditional ruler other than the Alaafin reserved the authority to confer a title covering the entire Yoruba land. Now in business news, the Naira yesterday appreciated to 1,550 Naira per dollar in the parallel market from 1,560 Naira per dollar last weekend. For the Naira depreciated to 1,534 Naira 8 kobo per dollar in the Nigerian foreign exchange market. Data published by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) showed that the exchange rate for the Naira rose to 1,534 Naira 8 kobo per dollar from 1,530 Naira per dollar last week Friday, indicating 4 Naira 8 kobo depreciation for the Naira. Consequently, the margin between the parallel market and the NFEM rate narrowed to 15 Naira 2 kobo per dollar from 30 Naira per dollar last weekend. Moving over to sports, Rafael Leao, who will miss AC Milan's opening league fixture of the season against Cremonese after suffering a calf injury, the Serie A club said on Tuesday. Milan said that Portugal winger Leao had suffered a strain to his right calf during Sunday's 2-0 Italian Cup win over Bari. The player will not be available against Cremonese and will be assessed on a daily basis ahead of the following fixture with Lisi, Milan added. Leao left the field against Bari shortly after opening the scoring in the 14th minute at the San Siro. And we head over to the entertainment scene. Renowned Nigerian dance icon Kafaya Shafau, popularly known as Kafi, has spoken candidly about her divorce, life as a single mother of 2, and the stigma of an attack to divorced women in society. Speaking on the Honest Bunch podcast with snippets uploaded on Instagram, The choreographer challenged cultural expectations that only fresh unmarried men and women are considered suitable for marriage. She argued that a person's marital history should not determine their worth or chances of finding love, stressing that many marriages fail regardless. I have had someone tell me because I am a single mother, they can't even think of dating me because I have 2 children, she revealed. And that's all on the news at 3 p.m. on Aneke TV. To end the news at 3 p.m., here are the main points. The son of the Norwegian Crown Princess, Marius Borg Høiby, has been charged with 32 offences, including 4 counts of rape. Høiby, whose mother is a Crown Princess, Mette Marit, and whose stepfather is the Crown Prince Haakon, Norway's future king, is expected to stand trial early next year and could face up to 10 years in prison if found guilty of the most serious charges. Hamas has agreed to a new Gaza ceasefire proposal as mediators from Qatar and Egypt push to renew talks ahead of a major Israeli assault on Gaza City. In a statement, Hamas said it had accepted the new proposal presented by Qatar and Egypt. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has confirmed the rescue of 15 more persons in the ongoing operation following tragic boat crash in Kojiyo village, Goronyo local government area of Sokoto State. We also told you that a viral video has shown the moment armed men believed to be operatives of Operation Udogachi, also known as the Agone Chamber Vigilante Group, stormed a corps member's lodge in Anambra State and assaulted a female corps member identified as Jennifer Edema Elo and some of her colleagues. That was the news. For breaking news eyewitness reports, please call 0703 043 7110, or you can send us a message across all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. I am Amaka Niji. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.